Okay, so today I'm going to go ahead and talk about networking with Libvirt, and I'm going to give you all a quick rundown on it. So first off, let me move all this out the way so I can see what's going on. First thing I'm going to do here is open up Google, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the source space documentation. As usual, because source space is the best. So you're going to type in Libvirt XML and domain XML format. And this is from the same organization that actually makes the software. Now, this source source okay, so really by default it doesn't really I should say this work with the GUI, so you're gonna have to manually input this. There's a few I'd recommend. So if you want to not have problems connecting between your host and your guest, you're gonna want to use NAT open. You're gonna want to use open-based NAT. If you're using like a Windows machine on your KVM and you want the connection to be have the least latency possible or everything to work good, you can do pass through. Some network cards have problems with pass through, and you might have the opposite. Instead of having way less latency, you might have more. This I found out, especially with servers and networking, is a really great way to do it, and it's the way I prefer. And it's the let me show you. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to pull up Virt-Manager, right? And mine's on the screen, so let me go ahead and get that over here for you. Okay, so I got my Virt-Manager here, right? And we're going to click on the virtual machine we want to edit, right? And it's going to go ahead and pop up, and then you're going to click open here. Right here, under that XML format. Now you can see this is the current card I have, and this is the MAC address I have set for it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one just to show you all, right? So I can go here, and I can go to and I can go over here to network, right? And right here I only got bridge and MAC VTAP, right? So if I go over here, I just go into here, and I can add the XML here instead of going through the entire XML sheet for the virtual machine. Okay, so copy that, and we're going to take out everything but interface and interface, and we'll go ahead and click finish here, and we're going to go back over here and see how it added it. Okay, so you're going to see it added like this, right? And if you go to the GUI, it's going to say it's a Mac VTAP device, which isn't really necessarily true, but it is, but it's not kind of hard to explain. Anyway, here's the MAC address. One thing I've noticed, and I've noticed this because I've experienced it a lot, when you change the MAC address here, your networking's not going to work right away, and sometimes you're going to have to go ahead and reboot the computer or the service. And then sometimes the service don't reboot right because you have to do an order, and then sometimes Libvirt's attached to the whole kit GUI. So sometimes it's just best to reboot after you change the MAC if you want to get it working. I'd recommend keeping the MAC currently like it is. Now, here is the network card used by default. This is a good one. This is a Realtek. Unfortunately, it's not even a gig, so it's going to go slow, but it's compatible with just about everything, right? So that's good for when you're doing the installation. When you come out of the installation, you want to go ahead and do Virt.io. And if you support it now on the Libvirt documentation, they say that, I don't know if I necessarily believe this, but they say that the pass-through is an SRIOV, but I've had mine disabled and it works for some other systems. So let's see if I can find this quickly. Host step. Might not be able to find that. I don't know if I'll waste y'all's time with that. I think maybe they changed it now. So I think maybe, yeah, I'm not seeing. Before I saw they said required SRIV, and I was like, wait, because usually with SRIV, I mean, you do something similar and then you break that network card up into a bunch of pieces and then you make sure you initialize the driver properly, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so it looks like it's not there anymore, so never mind that. I think they removed it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, where it says mode, you're going to go ahead and put pass through, right? And where it says trust TX filters, I'll just put that no. So interface type direct. This is the Mac. This is going to be the source device. So you're going to want to keep this separate from the one you're using. So for me, this is going to go ahead and be like F0, right? And because I don't even have that network part initialized yet, I have two 10 gig ports that are fiber optic. So I'm going to go ahead and go to networks here and then interfaces. And then right here where it says iNet static, this is my F0. Now I don't want to use that one because I'm using it for my Linux grid, right? So I'm going to go over here to F1. Let me go ahead and delete this stuff right here. And then I want that IP address to be 3, right? So I'm going to put a 3 there. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and there. And go ahead and delete the last 2. Okay. Now, right here, auto F1, iFace F1, iNet static, and I'm changing this 2 to a 3. Oh, lovely permissions. This real quick. That's 0. I'm just put at the 1 here. I'll just put just because it makes me feel better. Probably a completely waste of time. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. And I'm gonna do R2 service. Networking stuff. Yeah, that's one of the things that's okay. And so go ahead and restart here. Now, failed to bring up F1, so I have to. Oh, it did move back. See, that's one of the things. Sometimes the networking and Debian based and distros preparing your packages is a little iffy, especially when you're running a completely custom setup with OpenRC and stuff, but it works. And sometimes you get those errors because the run PIDs are held or the permissions are on or file lock is there's just a lock on. Anyway, it worked. It looks like it's up, right? So just to confirm it, I'm gonna go ahead and ping the interface. So ping 7777773. We got a ping there. So it's good, it works, right? Go over here, make sure that's a 1, that, everything's good, and apply, right? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and fire her up here. Fire her up. Right. And I'm starting up Looking Glass here. It's gonna take a little bit to initialize. Okay, yeah. It timed out. Now we're in. Okay. So I'm in the setup. We got internet, as you can see. Now I'm gonna go ahead and run tmd.txt. I'm gonna go ahead and pig Google, and as you can see, we got internet. So that is my recommended way. I'll show you. I'll give you a quick. Well, I'll give you like well, I have an R730 with two beefy as hell CPUs. It's two 18 cores, and the network card in it has problems with pass through because it's an SRIOV card, and it's primarily made for using it for more server workloads. Anyway, whenever you do the pass through, it kind of like freaks out and has these huge, it has interrupt problems, and I think it's because the SRIOV is made to split off the interrupts or something, so the pass through doesn't properly handle it. So whenever I do that pass through, it fixes the issue for me, and it seems to be to me uh, the best way to do your networking as far as latency and usability and stuff in Libvirt. So that's what I'd recommend. So, yeah, it just passes like directly through it, right? You are going to need though the McAfee tap built into the kernel because it's going to initialize the McAfee tap, but it's, I guess technically it would be a McAfee tap, but it's not. But it is. It's kind of hard to explain. Another thing you're going to want to make sure you do sudo run tab -e. I'm going to go in here and show you something pretty important. So right here, we have proc sysnet bridge, nf call IP6 tables, and nf call IP tables. And this just, if we look this up, here, we'll do some chat GPT magic. Let the AI handle our problems for us until they become the problem. Okay, so go back here where it says define this action in Linux. Nope, and we'll get a definition. Okay. So if you read what it says here, you got it right. When it's set to 0, the kernel will not pass IPv6 packets to the IP table firewall for filtering, which can result in better performance but reduce security. Conversely, when the value of blah 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 is set to 1, the kernel will pass blah 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 into the firewall for filtering. Anyway, what this does is if you're doing certain bridge setups and NAT setups, it doesn't matter for this McAfee tap, but what this does is this helps the routing so that you're not having it filtered by IP tables, and so you have better inter-network communication, and you're not having like you can't ping from your guest to your host or vice versa. I'm sure a lot of you that mess with the Libvirt networking have noticed that a lot of times your guest machine can't ping back to your host that you're sharing the network with. Well, here's the solution now. So you're gonna need these three commands right there. And if you want to search around, you just go to proc sysnet and just browse around in there for different commands and stuff you want to make your network go faster. Another thing is sysct, what is it? Sudo sysctl-a and grep for low. Okay, another one you're going to want to set that I haven't set. Net IPv4.tcp low latency. So this one right here is an important one too. This helps reduce your latency. So let's echo R1. I think it's in proc somewhere. Just go ahead and look this up real quick. How can I echo? I don't like using. I like to echo directly into it. So cd proxysnet, there's IPv4, and it'll probably be in here. So just tab and search. TCP low latency, there it is. So what you're going to do is you're just going to echo a nice pretty 1 to it. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. Oh, permission denied, girl. Sudo. Okay. Still permission denied. Okay. There you go. So you have to do it from root. So don't even take it. Anyway, you echo 1 there for your latency. That'll drop your latency some. Another good performance thing to do is, especially nowadays, since you're sending bigger amounts of data, to increase your read and write, to increase your window size, that would help too. Well, 2 ping to Google, can't complain about that, right? It's like unheard of, frankly. Anyway, so that's that. I'll get back to setting up a NAT now. So that's the way I recommend it for your best performance, like your primary KVM machine you're doing Windows on. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the connection details. Then I'm going to go to virtual networks, and I'm going to add a network, right? Now, if you want it to have good communication with your internet network, and you want to be able to route it and forward it and stuff correctly, and have guest to host communication without many problems or anything like that, do open. Always do open. Do open. One thing you're going to have to take note of, the subnet does still have to be different. Now you can do some magic, and you can forward the subnets and bridge the subnets, but we're just going to do it simple. So network, open, enable IPv4. All right, so I like to use 7s because 7's a lucky number. So 7776, and I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna start this off at what is it? 7776. So the start is gonna be at 2, and this thing's gonna be that. So it's okay, and we're gonna use a subnet of 24, right? So 24. Now my server uses the same thing, but it starts at like 128. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stop this one at 50. You know, no reason. I don't need to be using other stuff. Anyway, so there we go. That's that. That's that. Finish. Oh, is in the network address. Wait, I can get it to the ground here. Okay, just again. Just want to try your hands becoming yourself. Okay, so open IPv4 configuration. Okay, that's it. Right, it changes if it changes. Yeah, 0 again. Okay, that's it. Okay, so gonna start it at 2, right? And at 50. And I'm just gonna put that. And that's it. Also, this one doesn't require. It also has less requirements. So if you have a really lean kernel, the open will work a lot of the time, as opposed to like NAT that has more requirements. So if you have like certain IPv tables stuff installed, it won't work, but this one, it does. So this is like the most compatible and friendly when you're wanting to just lay down one network for all your virtual machines. Here you go. That's what I would do. Your open base NAT based network, right? Works good, but I don't even need that, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. I was just showing y'all what I'd recommend. So I deleted that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. You want to do your networking, that's how you do it. And then you're going to want to make sure that you use the other network card first, install the drivers for Virt.io, then switch over to Virt.io. Because a lot of OSs don't have this driver, unfortunately. Another thing you do, oh, one more thing is you can do a sock-based network, which is really good too, but the drivers are very limited, or they're kind of hard to find. At least I haven't been able to find a worker one. I actually haven't been able to set it up yet, to be honest with you. And that's because I couldn't find the host. I got it set up on, I mean, I couldn't find the guest driver for Windows for the socks. Because, socks is supposed to be faster than IP in general. Linux sockets. So, unfortunately, couldn't get that to work. Because that would be nice. But this works great. So, if you want to know how to do networking, keep it simplified, there you go. If you like the video, like and subscribe.